The Thing in the Cornfield, Iowa. Chapter 1. The Return to Miller's Farm. It had been 12 years since Daniel Miller had last set foot in his hometown of Elmsfield, Iowa. His parents had passed away in a tragic car accident when he was just 17, and he'd left the farm and the memories behind, choosing the bustle of Chicago over the silent whispers of the cornfields. But the letter changed everything. It was simple, unsigned, and smelled faintly of corn husks. Daniel, it's back. Come home before the harvest, before it wakes up again. No return address, just a postmark from Elmsfield. Daniel didn't believe in superstition, but he remembered enough to feel a chill crawl up his spine. Memories of summer nights on the porch, hearing rustling from the field long after the wind had died down. The family dog barking at nothing, then whimpering under the porch. The strange disappearance of his cousin Tyler, who vanished while playing hide-and-seek among the stalks. The adults had always said Tyler ran away. But Daniel remembered the screaming, so, against better judgment, he packed a bag, left a vague note for his boss, and drove back to the place he'd sworn never to return. Chapter 2. A Town That Forgot. Elmsfield was smaller than he remembered. Many stores were boarded up, the church's bell tower had collapsed, and the diner had only one working booth. It was as though the town was quietly dying and no one wanted to save it. Miller's farm sat at the edge of town, just before the two-lane road turned into gravel and disappeared into the corn. The house still stood, its paint peeling and porch sagging, but the field was alive. The corn stalks stretched for miles, taller than he remembered, swaying in rhythm like breathing lungs. Sheriff Gil Mason met him at the fence. "I figured you'd come," the sheriff said, gray-haired and wary. "You sent the letter?" Gil shook his head. "No, but I'm glad it found you. We don't talk about it anymore, Dan. Not since the last time. But something's wrong this year. Animals disappearing. A boy went missing last week." Daniel felt a coldness settle in his gut. "In the cornfield?" Gil nodded. "Same place your cousin disappeared." Daniel glanced at the towering corn. "You still think it's a person?" Gil looked down. I think it's something else, and it's waking up again." Chapter 3. Whispers in the Wind. The first night back was quiet, too quiet. Daniel slept in his childhood bedroom, though the familiar creaks and groans of the house kept him awake. The field just beyond the window loomed like a wall of shadows. At 2:14 a.m. he heard it, rustling, but not like wind. It was purposeful, like something large moving just beyond the stalks. Then came the whisper, "Daniel." He froze. The voice was thin, almost childlike, yet reverberated in his bones. Grabbing a flashlight, he stepped onto the porch. The beam cut through the darkness, but the corn remained still. Too still. No breeze, no insects, just silence. Then something moved. A brief glimpse between rows, something tall, not quite human. A silhouette that vanished before he could focus. He went back inside and locked every door. Chapter 4. The Journal. In the attic, beneath a tarp and boxes of old farm tools, Daniel found his father's journal. He wasn't the type to keep one, which made it all the more strange. The entries began normally, crop rotations, pest problems, but then took a darker turn. July 17th, 2008. Tyler's missing. Third kid in 4 years. Locals say coyotes, but I know better. July 22nd, 2008. It only comes during harvest season. Always takes the young. Feeds on fear. August 5th, 2008. I saw it. 8 feet tall, made of stalks and shadows, eyes like dying embers, the thing in the cornfield. August 10th, 2008. Built the scarecrow like the old stories said. It worked. Kept it away one season, but it always comes back. Daniel stared at the final entry. If anyone's reading this, never go in at night. And for God's sake, don't follow the voices. He closed the book, his hands trembling. Chapter 5. The scarecrow. Daniel remembered the scarecrow, a grotesque thing made from bones, straw, and his father's old hunting jacket. It used to sit at the edge of the field, facing inward, arms outstretched. It was gone. The post remained, but the scarecrow was missing. He asked around town. Most folks shut their doors at the mention of the field. Only one man, an old drunk named Elias, would speak. "It ain't no myth, boy," Elias slurred. "Thing in the corn, it's older than this town. A watcher, a hunter, needs something to keep it fed. Scarecrow wasn't just for show, it was a barrier. What happens without it?" Elias just laughed, a hollow sound. "You'll see." Chapter 6. Into the field. When the second child disappeared, little Amy Sanders, Daniel couldn't wait any longer. He grabbed his father's shotgun and flashlight and entered the cornfield just before dusk. The stalks closed around him like a cage. Visibility dropped to just a few feet. Every step felt like wading through molasses. The ground was soft, almost breathing. Then he heard it again. "Daniel, come play." He froze. That was Tyler's voice, but it couldn't be. Tyler had been missing for over a decade. He pushed forward. The deeper he went, the more distorted things became. Whispers danced on the air, sometimes pleading, sometimes mocking. Shapes moved at the edge of his vision, too tall, too thin. Then he found it. A clearing in the center of the cornfield. Blackened earth, a circle of old bones and dried husks. In the middle stood the thing. It wasn't just a monster, it was the cornfield. A twisted amalgamation of roots, stalks, limbs, and glowing eyes. It had Tyler's voice, Amy's face. It was them. It turned to him, towering and grotesque, and spoke. Welcome home. Chapter 7. The Bargain. Paralyzed with terror, Daniel raised his shotgun. But the thing laughed, a sound like rustling leaves and cracking bone. "You can't kill what feeds on memory," it whispered. "But you can trade." "Trade?" Daniel croaked. "A soul for a soul. Bring me one, and the rest go free. Refuse, and the harvest continues." It showed him visions, children it had taken, trapped in an eternal nightmare, part of its body now, whispering through the stalks. He ran. The field let him go that night, but the whispers followed. Chapter 8. The Choice. Back at the farmhouse, Daniel was tormented. Could he really sacrifice someone to save others? Who would he choose? Then it hit him. He didn't need to bring it a person. He needed to bring it back the scarecrow. Digging through the barn, he found the materials: bones from old traps, straw from the loft, his father's jacket, and a silver coin sewn into the lining. The coin was key. According to a final note in the journal, it was blessed by a priest from Des Moines. The coin was what kept the barrier strong. He rebuilt the scarecrow by dawn and carried it back into the field. Chapter 9. The Final Stand. The corn resisted him, trying to pull the scarecrow apart. Vines lashed at his arms, whispers turned into screams. But he reached the clearing and placed the scarecrow on its post. The thing roared, the earth shook, shadows screamed. Then silence. The field was still, and one by one, the faces began to fade from the thing. Tyler, Amy, dozens more. Their souls released, drifting upward like smoke. The corn began to wither. Chapter 10. After the Harvest. A month later, Daniel stood on the porch as bulldozers tore through the field. He'd sold the land to the county for development. The scarecrow now stood at the local museum, behind glass. A small plaque read, "The Guardian of Elmsfield." Sheriff Gill asked him if it was over. Daniel didn't answer, because late at night, when the wind blew just right, he could still hear it, rustling, and the whisper. "Daniel,